Hi, my name is Ben Palevsky, and I'm a transportation planner at MKSK Studios in Detroit, Michigan. When I introduce myself to other transportation planners, I always start with the fact that I grew up in New York City because the transportation choices I had growing up definitely influenced my values as someone who works in transportation today. I went to college at the University of Michigan where I studied architecture, but also got the chance to explore my interests in urban studies and urban design. And by the time I graduated, I knew that I wanted to follow more of an urban planning trajectory. And then a couple years later, I went back to school for my master's in city planning at UPenn in Philadelphia. And during my time in grad school, I interned for SEPTA, the local transit agency, and the Philly Office of Complete Streets. And upon graduating in 2019, I accepted a job, my current job as a transportation planner at MKSK, and moved back to Michigan. So I've been in my current role for about a year and a half, and over the summer I was promoted from Planner 1 to Planner 2. I work on transportation projects at a wide range of geographies, ranging from small cities to townships, to regional projects for the Detroit MPO, to projects for state DOTs, and I frequently work with engineers, landscape architects, economic development professionals, and policy specialists. And today I find myself starting to delegate work more to colleagues and interfacing directly with clients and presenting at conferences more, and I feel like I'm in a great place to build on my leadership and communication and networking skills in this course, so I'm really excited to get to know all of you. And one thing that most of my coworkers don't know about me is that I have a fraternal twin brother. We were always really different growing up, and now he's a social worker. And we joke that we've actually kind of come full circle because we're discovering that there's a lot of overlap in our fields and the issues that we're passionate about. So maybe we're not too different after all. Thanks.
Hi everyone, this is Christina Downey. I'm from upstate New York in the Northeastern District. My last name is pronounced Downey. It's often mispronounced because of the spelling, so it's like Iron Man or the fabric softener. I live in Saratoga Springs, New York with my husband Ed and our two boys, ages 3 and 5. Currently work for New York State Department of Transportation in Albany, New York. And in terms of my background and how I got interested in transportation engineering, while in college I worked for a couple firms as an internship, and that really got me exposed and interested in traffic engineering. My traffic engineering professor signed me up for ITE. He was very active during his career. After college, I worked in consulting for almost 14 years before joining New York State DOT 4 years ago. Now in the Traffic Operations Bureau, focused on our traffic signal programs, specs and standards, and signal optimization and analysis. Something people don't know about me is that in my 20s, I was a hip-hop dance instructor, and I was part of a dance troupe called the Diamonds. And the fun thing, besides making lifelong friends while I was teaching, the fun thing about being a dance teacher was that I was able to go back to my college alma mater, RPI, and teach hip-hop dance for their student-run dance activities club. So I went back to RPI not to teach traffic engineering, but to teach hip-hop dance. So anyway, that is me in a very small 2-minute nutshell, and I look forward to meeting and getting to know all of you. Take care.
Hi guys, I'm Dave Addison, coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio. I can't wait to get started with the 2021 LeadershipITE class, get to know each and every one of you personally, and learn some valuable skills to help us in our profession and in our lives moving forward. So a little about me. Currently, I am the traffic section head for Johnson, Murmurin, and Thompson, or JMT for short. And I cover traffic across the state of Ohio. Kind of new to the role. I started back in March, right before COVID hit. So it's been a very challenging time to be a department head, but I'm loving it. Mentoring younger traffic engineers and managing projects and still actually doing traffic work. So it's what I love to do, and I'm happy with what I'm doing. ITE-wise, I am the current Vice President of the Ohio Section ITE. I will be President in 21. I'm also currently involved at the district level. I'm the current Great Lakes District Awards Coordinator. That is all subject to change with the new district realignment in 21, so we'll see where that all goes. I got into the transportation industry back in 2012. Unfortunately, when I graduated from Ohio State in 2009, there was a recession, so it took me 3 years to get a job. But I got in and was a traffic engineer. I didn't know traffic engineering was a thing, but I loved it, and it's led me to where I am today. I've moved up from just a simple project engineer to a department head. And I guess one thing that people know me people who know me don't know is that I love guitar. I play guitar. I have an acoustic Takumi guitar. It's a classical guitar with nylon strings, and I enjoy playing. I'm not in a band, no, but I play quite a bit on the side. Most people don't know that about me because it doesn't really come up in conversation too often. So yeah, looking forward to meeting all of you guys. We'll see you soon.
Hi, my name is Derrick Estell. I work here at the City of Springfield in the Public Works Department as a traffic engineer. To tell you a little bit about myself, I grew up here in southwest Missouri, in a small town called Miller, Missouri, with a population of less than 700 people. I played football at Miller High School. I graduated from Miller High School. I went on to play Division I college football at Valparaiso University, where I also studied civil engineering. Valparaiso is just outside of Chicago in northwest Indiana. I studied civil engineering there for 4 years, where I eventually ended up having an internship here at the City of Springfield, where I fell in love with transportation and traffic engineering. So I decided to kind of take an emphasis on that area in my studies. After graduating from Valparaiso University in 2017, I came on here at the city full time, where I've been involved in all things traffic related, whether it's signal timing or traffic studies or development review stuff. I'm heavily involved in bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure. So basically, all things traffic, I'm interested in. To tell you one thing about myself that most people probably don't know is prior to graduating, I did used to have hair that came down to my shoulders. Most people don't know that. I keep my hair pretty short these days. So, but yeah, that's a little bit about myself. I'm looking forward to LeadershipITE. Looking forward to experiencing it with you all. So, yeah, thanks.
Hello everyone, my name is Erika Myers and I am a senior engineer at Lee Engineering in our Oklahoma City office. I am originally from the Central Valley of California and I got my degree in civil engineering at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I always knew that I wanted to go to Cal Poly, but I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I initially was thinking about being an art major. Thankfully, my parents talked me out of that. And it was my dad who suggested that I study engineering because I was good in math. So as I got further into my major classes, I had to select a concentration and I just naturally gravitated towards transportation. When I graduated, I went back home to Fresno and worked for VRPA Technologies. When I was in college, I fell in love with a cowboy and he graduated a quarter before I did and moved to a very, 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 very small town in California to work on an Angus cattle ranch. So when we got married a few years after graduation, I also moved to the ranch and that is when I started working from home full time. About a year after we were married, my husband got a job offer to manage a ranch near Oklahoma City. So we moved out here and settled in Edmond, Oklahoma. Initially, I continued working for VRPA remotely, but in 2015, I went to work for Lee Engineering, who has a local office here. My husband and I now have 3 beautiful children, ages 3, 6, and 7. Something that most people who know me don't know. That's a tough one for me. I don't consider myself an extremely interesting person. I'm kind of just the normal girl next door. So the only thing that jumps out at me that's, I guess, a little unusual is that I absolutely love doing laundry. It's my favorite domestic chore. So I guess that's me in a nutshell. I've been busy raising babies and focusing on family the last, I guess, 5 to 7 years. So now that my kids are getting a little bit older, I have a little more freedom to pursue some of my career goals again. And so that's why I applied at LeadershipITE, and I'm excited to be here.
Hello, my name is Eric Nevland, and I'm from Mississauga in Ontario, Canada, and I'm very excited to be part of the LeadershipITE program. I'm originally from a small town in the Canadian prairies called Birchville, Saskatchewan, and have always been interested in STEM subjects, with a particular interest in geology. When I started my undergraduate studies in engineering at the University of Saskatchewan, I selected civil as my discipline, and at the time a professor, Dr. Peter Park, got me a lot more interested in transportation engineering. I ended up getting a Bachelor of Science in Engineering as well as a certificate in Professional Communications, and after working as a research assistant for that Dr. Peter Park, he ended up moving to Toronto, Ontario, and my wife and I also moved there so that I could start a Master of Applied Science in Civil Engineering program at York University. And while I was there, I was the founding president of the ITE York University Student Chapter, which ended up being the most active student chapter in Canada and won the Canadian District Student Chapter Delta Award and the York University President Sustainability Leadership Award. Now, halfway through my graduate studies, I started working at the region of Peel. I was a transportation planner in the Transportation System Planning section, where I did a mix of planning and engineering work in the areas of modeling, data analytics, innovation, and goods movement. Now, once I completed my graduate studies, I was elected to the ITE Toronto section executive as the communications coordinator. And recently, I accepted a learning assignment at the region of Peel to be a project lead with the traffic engineering section. I'm now the secretary of the ITE Toronto section, a committee member at large with the Young Professionals in Transportation Toronto chapter, and the VP Education with the region of Peel Toastmasters Club. I'm registered as an EIT with Professional Engineers Ontario, and I should have my professional engineering license before the end of this program. I'm also pursuing designation as a registered professional planner with the Ontario Professional Planners Institute. One thing most people don't know about me is I still have my interest in geology. Although I left most of my collection back in Saskatchewan, I still like to get out rock hounding when I have the opportunity, which unfortunately hasn't been a lot lately. I look forward to learning with you all during this program, and I'm very thankful for the support I received in order to participate. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Ethan Coxsey. I'm the hardware engineering manager here at Everly Design. We create traffic monitors, loop detectors, power supplies, load switches, all sorts of things for the traffic cabinet. We've been in the industry since 1980. I started here at Everly Design last January, so I've been here just about 2 years now. Before that, I worked at a company called American Control Electronics, and we created electric controls for electric motors, brushless DC, AC, brush DC, all sorts of them ranging from really small sub-fractional horsepower up to, we had a couple that could do 5 to 10 horsepower, which were pretty big motors, pretty big controls. It was mostly in an industrial space, and I worked there as a design engineer. Before that, I attended the University of Illinois. I graduated with a degree in electrical engineering. I'm from the Phoenix area, though I was born in Oklahoma. I love doing things outside. I love mountain biking. I love hiking. I love running. Also like to play rock band with my wife and my sister. We're getting pretty good at it. One day I think we're going to go pro, but until then I'm going to have to keep doing my day job here. I think that's about it. I'm looking very much forward to doing LeadershipITE. I think it's going to be a great opportunity to learn a lot more about the traffic industry and about, really leading a team rather than being just a member of it and helping out. So very excited for the opportunity, very excited to meet you.
Hi, my name is Govind Padakpat. A little bit about myself. If you haven't guessed that by now, I'm originally from India. I have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering, and I have advanced graduate degrees in civil engineering from University of Wisconsin and Penn State University. Ever since I was a kid, I was always interested in transportation. In fact, I have very fond memories of traveling by trains, especially the ones driven by steam locomotives. Focus of my study during my graduate studies was in transportation, and it was during that time there was a major legislation passed called ICE-T, which had a huge thrust towards deploying technology to solve transportation problems. I was immediately attracted to the field of IVHS, which is what ITS used to be referred to back in the day. My first job out of graduate school was working for a small 10-person civil engineering firm out of Westminster, Maryland. Although it felt really painful at that time, my decision to work for a very small firm was one of the best decisions in hindsight. I was responsible for every aspect of delivering projects, including developing PS&E packages to actually laying down traffic counters late at night. So the experience that I gained over there really helped me chart out a great path ahead. So after my stint over there, I moved around and I worked for very top engineering firms, and I was fortunate to travel and work in several states within the US with focus on traffic engineering and IDS. About 6 years ago, I had an opportunity to try out a career change by turning to public sector. So I took a job with Federal Highways R&D division in 2014 as a research transportation specialist focused on CAV. I've been mostly involved in projects that involve advanced and emerging technologies to help address transportation problems. I have loved every moment since I started with Federal Highway, because it's really a lifelong process in terms of learning, so it's been wonderful. So I hope to really meet you all virtually and hope to learn from you all with the diverse skill set that you bring to the table. Thank you.
Hi, and greetings from Space City, Houston, Texas. I'm Harpreet Bedi, and I'm excited to be part of the leadership program, which will provide a unique opportunity for intellectual development, inspiration, and empowerment from distinguished transportation leaders. My inclination to engineering started at a young age with a fascination and curiosity of historical and modern monuments, architecture, and engineering marvels. In high school, I had an opportunity to work on a city planning and multimodal transportation system design project aimed to improve safety, mobility, and air quality in a historically and densely populated city in India. The project experiences, challenges, and guidance from my teachers and mentors inspired me to pursue a bachelor's program in civil engineering. At the National Institute of Technology in India, I learned the principles of structural, geotechnical, highway, and environmental engineering. I was introduced to new technologies and tools such as GIS, roadway and traffic modeling, and their application for effective planning, design, and estimates. This experience, along with a quest for in-depth learning and the opportunity to assist distinguished professors on research projects utilizing state-of-the-art practice and applications, inspired me to pursue a master's program in civil engineering at the Texas A&M University in College Station. I currently serve as the Director of Engineering at TransCore and have 19 years of experience in traffic engineering, operations, and ITS design. I manage the Regional IDS program and lead the engineering team on project development, deployment, and maintenance. My previous work experience at AECOM and PBS&J involved managing engineering studies, operational analysis, modeling and simulation, and signal timings, along with ITS planning and design. I have actively volunteered and contributed to the ITE technical, social, and networking programs since 2001 and served as the TechSite Houston Section Programs Committee Chair for 4 years. I would like to congratulate all fellow participants on their selection to the leadership program. I look forward to working with you and our mentors on an interactive and collaborative learning experience as we build relationship in our pursuit to support the next generation transportation solutions. Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Campbell. I'm the Director of Traffic Engineering Safety Services at Traffic Analysis and Design. We go by TADDY, and we're based in the southeast region of Wisconsin and serve the Midwest. A little bit about me. I've been married to my wife for 16 years. We originally met in high school. We have 2 daughters, ages 5 and 9, and they're fantastic. I really enjoy having girls. It's been a lot of fun, and each day is a new adventure. How I got into transportation, when I was a kid, I really liked playing with sand and Hot Wheels. So I naturally gravitated towards civil engineering and something in the transportation field. So I went to Marquette University and then had the opportunity to go to graduate school at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where I was able to work with Keith Knapp, a researcher there at the time, and learn a lot about traffic safety, and really developed a passion for reducing crashes, and that's something we've been able to develop into a core service here at TADDY, is helping municipalities and counties and state DOTs identify dangerous locations and implement solutions. Something unique about me, this year with the pandemic, we decided to give homeschooling a try, and my wife's the primary teacher for our kids, and it's been going really good. I think it's been a really rewarding experience. We had always kind of wondered what homeschooling would be like. I'm the gym teacher, and I also help out for science-related STEM activities. And then we also got a puppy this year. I never thought we were going to get a dog. I was always no. But things changed a little bit this year, and we have a little female puppy, pug named Peanut, and she's adorable, and she's a really good dog. So we're just having a lot of fun here at home this year, and I'm looking forward to this program. So thank you.
Hi there, my name is Jonathan Stotts, and I am a project engineer for CJW Transportation Consultants in Springfield, Missouri. I've been doing that for about 8 years now. I'm very clean, neat personality. I like things to be very well organized and such, probably pretty typical for most engineers. I have a 7-year-old son who I spend most of my time with, and who will probably be much more intelligent than I was as he's growing up. I enjoy spending time with family and friends, playing sports. I enjoy music, photography, graphic design, among other things. But in general, I'm really excited to spend some time with other like-minded professionals and get to go through this leadership course and learn more about other folks in the area, not just in my immediate community, and be able to hopefully glean some things from each other and not just from the course itself. So really excited and looking forward to it.
Hi, I'm Josh Smith. I'm a project manager in traffic engineering transportation planning with Lee Engineering in our Dallas office. I'm married to Angela, and we have a daughter and 2 sons. Our daughter is a college freshman at BYU, where my wife and I met. Our boys are a high school junior and a 6th grader. They've all been homeschooled by my wife back since way before that became the cool thing to do this year. I got into the transportation industry in a roundabout way, no pun intended. I had a summer internship after my freshman year in college at my dad's place of employment. He's a retired electrical engineer who worked on guidance systems for rockets and for the space shuttle, among other things. You know, when people say this isn't rocket science, well, I learned during my internship that I wanted to be able to say that about my work. So I was in over my head there, and they sent me to their engineering library to read whatever I could about, about engineering when I'd run out of more useful things to do. I enjoyed reading magazines about civil engineering, about road and bridge projects there. So I kind of got interested in that and decided to change my major when I got back to school. I've been in consulting most of my career, first for 13 years in Baltimore, Maryland, and now for the last 7 years in North Texas. I spent a year as a full-time in-house consultant for the Maryland State Highway Administration in Frederick, Maryland, so that gave me some valuable public side experience. I've been involved in ITE for most of my 20-year career. I served in various leadership roles with the Washington, D.C. section, including as the president in 2011. Since I moved to North Texas in 2013, I got involved in ITE here, and I served as the president of the Greater Dallas section in 2018. Today, I work directly with Lee Engineering's president, Jody Short, and our vice president, Dharmesh Shah. They're both here in our Dallas office, and Jody's an alumnus of LeadershipITE, along with John Denholm, one of our other two project managers in the Dallas office. So Lee Engineering support has been vital for me, as well as for Erik A. Myers, who's in our Oklahoma City office, and also in today's new LeadershipITE class. And for all of our staff, we've really appreciated the support that Lee Engineering has provided us. Something that most people don't know about me is that I was born 3 months premature, and I almost didn't survive my first few weeks of life. I was actually featured in the local newspaper for being a unusual example of a surviving preemie back in the 1970s, someone who was born that early. That survival is much better today for children in that situation, fortunately, but it wasn't in my case, and so I'm thankful every day is a blessing. I'm excited to meet and learn with the rest of you and contribute towards making ITE a better organization for everyone. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Joyce Yassine and I'm looking forward to meeting everyone virtually. I was born, raised, and currently reside in Detroit, Michigan. I also went to college here and graduated with my bachelor's and master's degree from Wayne State University. When I was younger, I was always good at math and solving problems. I also wanted to make an impact on saving lives. So by the time I enrolled in college, I knew I wanted to major in civil engineering. During my undergrad, I worked in the transportation research group, and that's when I realized I could also save lives enjoying what I do in transportation. A lot of my earlier experiences was related to improving traffic safety through road safety audits, local road safety plans, research, and towards zero-death initiatives. More recently, I have expanded my knowledge in transportation by working on signal optimization studies, traffic impact studies, and signal design projects. I am currently working from home with WSP. On my spare time, I enjoy spending it with my husband and 3 kids. Something that many don't know about me is that I would love to move to a warmer state because I'm not a fan of the winters here in Michigan.
Hi, I'm Karyn Robles, and I am the Director of Transportation for the Village of Schaumburg, Illinois. We're a suburban community located in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. I also live here with my husband, Steve, and our 2 daughters, Isla, who's 8, and Sabrina, who's 5. I am a municipal transportation planner by trade. I've spent my whole career working in transportation planning. I am AICP certified, and I have my undergrad degree in public administration and urban and regional planning from Miami of Ohio, and my master's of public administration from the University of Illinois at Springfield. I have spent my entire career working in transportation planning, but getting into it was a bit of a fluke. I graduated from Miami in the post-September 11th world where jobs were hard to find. I interviewed for 2 jobs with Bloomington, Indiana. One was a long-range planner position, and the other was a transportation planner position. Long story short, I got the transportation planner position, discovered a passion and love for transportation planning, and decided to make a whole career out of it. I worked for a few years for the MPO in the city of Bloomington, Indiana, before moving to Carmel, Indiana to focus on alternative transportation modes and more bicycle and pedestrian efforts. And from there, I returned back to Illinois and worked for the city of Naperville, Illinois for about 7 years as their Assistant Director of Transportation and Planning before landing here in Schaumburg, where I am the Director of Transportation and have been for about 6.5 years. In my current role, I do our Phase 1 preliminary engineering, roadway studies, I manage the traffic signal system, but I also have purview of our transit system and our bike ped network. And probably most interestingly, I manage a municipal helistop and airport. So I like to joke that the only thing I'm missing are ports, and since we're landlocked, that'll have to be my next career move. A fun fact about me is that in 2010, I had the opportunity to join a federal transit study program to go visit Turkey, Egypt, and South Africa, where we worked with local government officials in those countries to understand the economic benefits of transit and how we could take their lessons learned and bring them back to the United States. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know all of you and to participate in this Leadership ITE program. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Justin Effinger and I work with the Lake County Division of Transportation. I'm a principal engineer and I focus on traffic signals and intelligent transportation systems. Although I work in Illinois, I actually live and am from Wisconsin. Lake County is very close to the border with Wisconsin. I have a wife, Sammy, and twin toddlers, Henry and Madeline. And twin toddlers are very tough, but I wouldn't have it any other way. They are so much fun and just a joy to be around. For educational background, I graduated from UW-Milwaukee with a bachelor's in civil engineering and a master's in engineering. Something that most people don't know about me is I actually started in architecture, but I just didn't like the art and the feelings and the stuff that went along with architecture. I'm more geared towards math and science. I started my career at Wisconsin DOT, went from entry level to advanced engineer, and then I made the switch to Lake County Division of Transportation just because kind of fell in love with their ATMS, ITS, and their innovative thinking and approach. And I hope to get a lot out of this program. And I'm really looking forward to meeting everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Hello, my name is Lili Liang. I am a senior traffic engineer working for Maryland Transportation Authority. It is the business unit of the Maryland DOT. I came to America in 2007 for my master's degree. After graduation, I worked for about 10 years in the private consulting firms. After that, I joined a public agency. My agency is relatively small. We only manage the 8 toll facilities in the state of Maryland, so we also have less people in our agency, which means each individual has a wider range of responsibility. For me, I'm in charge of from the bigger projects such as the multi-million major infrastructure capital project to smaller on-call tasks. I also manage the major corridor congestion relief study to a smaller traffic study at the high crash locations. In addition, I also am responsible for design standard development updates, response for the citizen request, as well as other miscellaneous tasks. I'm very glad I can participate into the IT leadership program. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you guys virtually. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michael Paler, and I'm looking forward to being a part of Leadership ITE's class of 2021. And as a child, I was always fascinated with cars and road networks, and those cars took the form of AFX slot cars, Hot Wheels, and Matchbox models. But the name of the game for me wasn't only speed and lots of it. The caveat, though, is that I wondered while I was playing with my slot cars why automakers didn't invent electric cars right away so we could experience that radical acceleration. But, for me, the road network was equally important. My great-grandmother made a quilt from patchwork fabric, and I saw that patchwork fabric as a network of urban roads with different colored and shaped developments. And my cars would drive, sometimes carefully and sometimes not, through that network, obeying and not obeying traffic control devices that were imagined and enduring some brutal collisions. My Matchbox cars are all scratched up to tell the story. And the strange thing about that is I had completely forgotten about those escapades until, I started doing this recording. Unwittingly, I'm certain that these, seminal interests translated into what I'd consider a less than concrete desire to serve as a leader in the transportation industry. I had an initial love for structural engineering, and that inadvertently led me into traffic engineering and transportation engineering because my supervisor didn't have enough contract money to allow me to work in the structures group. And from there, it was works on policy and then full-blown traffic engineering. And that's 30 years of learning, growing, failing, and winning. There are obvious qualities that I possess that tell a great deal about me, and I see them in my children. Intensity when the job requires it, a dedication to learn, challenges for accountability and the willingness to be held accountable, creativity and caution, innovativeness and respect for well-worn practices, and always a desire to win at what I do, at what we do, because team is at the foundation of everything connected to my career. Oddly, there isn't much about myself that people who know me don't know. The key to team is that people must know you to like you and like you to follow you. I'll say this, you may not expect that I write stories, books, poetry, and songs. I even put one song to melody called Breathless. Or actually, I don't even know the name of the song. It's called Speechless, right? But I'm an engineer who loves the humanities. Now, that's something we can talk about.
Hello, my name is Natalie Sager. I am looking forward to the LeadershipITE program and getting to know you all. A little bit about myself. I am a traffic engineer at HDR Engineering. I've been there for about 6 years and joined right after I graduated from college. I'm also this year's current treasurer for the North Central section of ITE, and I will be the secretary for 2021. A little bit about how I got into the industry. I went to the University of Minnesota and got into the engineering school. I knew that I wanted to be a civil engineer, but didn't know what my discipline was. So actually through most of college, I was aiming to be a structural engineer, but I had a lot more career opportunities in transportation. And now that I've been in the field, I would never go back. I think I made the right choice. With NCITE involvement, I was very fortunate. My boss at HDR, he's very involved in NCITE, and he's actually been the president before, and he's really encouraged me to get involved. First, I started out, there was an opening on the Pedestrian and Traffic Safety Committee. There was a co-chair opening, and I was pretty new to NCITE still, and I volunteered for that position. And shortly found out that the chair was looking to transition out of his role, so I became the chair as well. After that, because of my involvement as a chair, I had the opportunity to become a director for NCITE, and then that started my board transition. A fun fact, or a little bit about my personal life. I'm married to my husband, Tom. We've been married, we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary. We don't have a family yet, but we have a 4-year-old Siberian cat who gets a lot of our attention. Another fun fact about myself is that I'm an identical twin, and my mom didn't know that she was going to have my sister when we were born, so my sister was a surprise. Anyways, I'm looking forward to meeting you all, and I'm excited for LeadershipITE with you.
My name's Rachel Bolton. I work for the Portland Bureau of Transportation and moved here about a year ago from Huntsville, Alabama, where I'm from, and started working for the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet back in 2008 after I graduated, and I've been working for about 13 years now. After I left the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, I worked for a private firm in Alabama, and then I worked for the city of Huntsville for 2 years and decided I wanted to move out west and explore new things. I also wanted to work for PBOT because they're doing a lot of innovative things in the transportation industry, and I wanted to learn as much as I could. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to be on the team. Let's see, one thing about me that people probably don't know is I play violin. I've been playing since I was 9 years old. So I know that next year Portland's supposed to host the 2021 ITE annual conference. It might be virtual next year. Who knows? I think it is. But hopefully we get the chance to host, and I look forward to meeting all of you in person one day.
Good morning. My name is Bob Brady. I'm a senior research scientist with the Texas A&M Transportation Institute and program manager of the Advanced Transportation Operations Program within the System Reliability Division. Basically, that means that I like to look at areas of transportation where technology can be applied. We certainly don't want to search for technology solutions for the sake of finding technology solutions. We want to find technology solutions that can help improve operations. My specialty is in large-scale deployments, having done a number of them across different research projects and in a number of different states. So just in terms of a little bit of background about me, I grew up in New Jersey, went to Clarkson University as an undergrad, did my graduate work in Penn State, came down to Texas A&M to be part of a new program that was starting up related to intelligent transportation systems in 1996, and I've been here ever since. The interesting thing about my professional development and professional associations over time is that largely I've been dealing with and working in ITS America and ITS Texas. I went all the way through board member and president and all the in-between positions for ITS Texas, largely because that's where my focus was, and ITE did not really focus on intelligent transportation systems and operations. Those types of things are changing now, so I think this is a good opportunity for advancement in this area. I've got 2 dogs, 2 cats, happily married, and I think that's about my 2 minutes, so looking forward to seeing everybody in the group. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Ryan Eckenrode, and I am thrilled to be part of the 2021 Leadership ITE class. In 2002, I was introduced to ITE. I got to attend the Southern District ITE meeting in New Orleans, Louisiana. And after attending this meeting, I knew I wanted to be part of the IT community for years to come. From 2000 to 2006, I attended Clemson University. I have got a master's in traffic engineering, and I even served as the student ITE president in 2006 when they won the National Best Student Chapter. In 2007, I got my first job in Raleigh, North Carolina, and after a couple of years, I moved to Greenville, South Carolina, where been working at AECom as a project manager and senior traffic engineer. I have 3 direct supports that I supervise. I specialize in traffic capacity, transportation safety, signal timing, and even large corridor studies. Projects include a couple $1,000s to a couple $1 million for both public sector clients and private sector clients. In 2017, I was the state's IT president. One thing you probably don't know about me is that in 2005, actually 15 years ago in December, I was in a serious car crash. I was at an intersection at Clemson University and a drunk driver T-boned me going about 45 miles an hour. I was left unconscious for almost 24 hours. I found out a day later that they had used the jaws of life to get me out of the car. This life-changing incident has shaped me to be a huge proponent of transportation safety. I don't take anything for granted. I don't go through an intersection without looking both ways. And I just want to say, everybody, I'm thankful to be here, and I'm looking forward to working with everybody over the next couple of weeks. I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.
Hello, ITE Leadership Class of 2021. My name is Seth M.Zubatkin. A little about myself is that I'm originally from Central New Jersey and currently live in Brooklyn, New York with my fiance. We were supposed to be married already, but unfortunately we had to reschedule due to the pandemic. Ever since I was a child, I wanted to work in the transportation industry, as I've always been amazed with anything related to transportation, such as trains, buses, highways, and cities. My favorite activities growing up included making miniature cities with either Brio trains, Legos, or Hot Wheel sets, reading maps and atlases, and playing SimCity 2000. I haven't outgrown all those activities, as I have a small collection of Lego architecture skyline sets depicting some of the different cities I've been to throughout my life. Today, I'm an avid cyclist, trying out all the different bike routes throughout the New York City area. I also enjoy hiking, whether it's in the mountains or trekking between my apartment and Central Park on the weekends. I'm also a huge New Jersey Devils fan, and I can't wait for the NHL season to get started again. Hopefully we'll do well this year. Professionally, I graduated from the New Jersey Institute of Technology in 2012 with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. Since graduating, I've worked in the transportation industry as a traffic engineer. I currently work for HDR, and I specialize in master planning, roadway design, and construction sequencing for airport redevelopment programs, mostly with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. I have my professional engineering license from both the states of New York and New Jersey. For my future, I would love to move to Germany. During these lockdowns, I figured it'd be a perfect opportunity to learn German. So since March, I've repurposed my commuting time and use it to learn German every day. I feel really lucky to be accepted into this program, and I can't wait to get started. And I hope to meet all of you soon.
Hi everyone, my name is Shruti Malik and I live in San Francisco, California with my husband and 2 daughters aged 5 and 9. I'm really very excited to be a part of the 2021 ITE Leadership Program. I'm originally from a small town in India called Chandigarh, and the universal nature of transportation and the way that it touches people on a daily basis was what fascinated me at a very early age. And to better understand the relationship between transportation and land use, connectivity, mobility, and access, I decided to move to the US and pursue my master's in transportation engineering from UC Berkeley. Go Bears! In my current role at Mott MacDonald, I am the transportation planning practice lead for Northern California, where I do pretty much everything across the board, from recruiting and mentoring staff to submitting proposals and maintaining client relationships and ensuring that we're able to do everything we can to grow our practice. One thing about myself that most people don't know about is I'm a henna enthusiast. And I often like to do henna designs, coming up with innovative and creative ideas for my daughters. And I've developed one for ITE specifically that I thought I'd share with you. And that's it, pretty much. Thank you so much, and I look forward to meeting all of you virtually very soon. Bye.
Hi there, I'm Tanya Davis, and I'm from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. I'm the Manager of Transportation Planning with the Halifax Regional Municipality. Throughout my career, I've worked in the transportation industry in both consultant and government roles, in operations design and planning. And I've worked in Washington, D.C., Toronto, Canada, and Nova Scotia. My first job experience in year 1 of my civil engineering degree was in transportation, and frankly, I fell in love. I knew at that particular point in time that I wanted to be in the transportation industry for my career so that I could figure out how to make change. As for my personality, I think I could be described as dedicated, probably adventurous, definitely solutions focused, and probably people would say that I like to push the envelope on everything that I do, whether it's personally or professionally. When I was a kid, my parents would probably describe me as a kid that was always asking why. And then further to that, well, but why couldn't we? Because I was always kind of searching for, well, if we can't do it, why couldn't we? How can we find a solution? How can we kind of move this forward? something that people maybe don't know or do know, I'm not sure, but I love to travel. I've been to over 30 different countries in the world and 20 different cities between Canada and the US. And why I love to travel is a whole lot of reasons, I guess. But, you know, how it relates to my work is that I do try and incorporate what I see from my travels into my work every day to try and just improve, make change, do things differently or better. I look forward to meeting the rest of the leadership team and to working with each of you over the next year and learning a whole bunch from you guys. Take care and see you soon. Bye.
Hello everyone, my name is Terrence Hill. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I work for Kimley Horn and Associates. And I'm very excited about joining the Leadership ITE program with you all. I'm very excited to meet you all. Unfortunately, it's virtually this time as opposed to in person, but I'm very excited about all the opportunities, about the things I can learn and apply to my everyday work life. I'm originally from Jonesboro, Georgia, which is just south of Atlanta. I went to school or undergrad at Southern Polytechnic State University, which is now a part of Kennesaw State University. I initially went there for architecture, but realized very quickly, within the first week actually, that I didn't want to do that and switched over to civil engineering. Upon graduating from Southern Poly, I worked a couple of years at a roadway design firm in Atlanta. And while at Southern Poly, I actually got the bug to go to grad school from a professor that came down from the University of Tennessee. So I went to the University of Tennessee and I studied, among many things, but ways to mitigate crashes between bicycles and pedestrians in China. So I spent a couple of months in China doing my research work. Upon graduating from the University of Tennessee, I moved here to Nashville and worked 4 years at the Tennessee Department of Transportation, where I did a myriad of things, including managed lanes, air congestion, and safety work as well. Joined Kimley Horn, I guess, about 7.5 years ago, and I primarily now work on signal timing and signal design, as well as transportation planning. And one of the things, I guess, that maybe a lot of people don't know about me, kind of a fun fact, I guess, is that growing up, I love vehicles, and I have a collection currently of over 2,000 Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars. Again, I'm very excited to meet you all.
Hi everybody, my name is Alexandra Lopez and I'm currently the Transportation System Management and Operations Program Engineer for the Florida Department of Transportation. I cover what's known here as District 4. It's various counties within Florida, Broward County, Palm Beach, Martin County, Indian River County, and St. Lucie County. We are just a bit north of Miami-Dade. Before that, I also worked with a private company called Gannett Fleming. There, I also did what we call Transportation System Management and Operations, as well as traditional intelligent transportation systems. I spent about 3 years with that company. And prior to that, I actually worked in the district south of where I'm at, which is District 6. And I was also involved with TSM&O and ITS. The way I got involved with transportation, but basically my background is in civil engineering, and I also have a master in transportation. And so during my career at FIU, which is the school I graduated from, I took one class that was one of those mandatory classes, and it was a transportation class. And the professor wasn't that good, and I still liked the topic very much. So I decided to pursue more under that special sort of track within civil engineering. And that's how I got where I'm at. One thing that was asked of us was to talk about something that people that know me probably don't know. And it's something that I developed during the pandemic. It's love for K-dramas. So I'm really enjoying those, watching those on Netflix. And obviously that really put me into this path of really loving Korean food. So if you have any suggestions or anything that maybe I should be watching, let me know. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Anamaria Torres. I am a traffic lead designer at Stantec in Austin, Texas. I am a proud Louisiana Tech alumni. Go Bulldogs. I was born and raised in Louisiana, and then kind of slowly made a transition. I went to grad school at Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois, Chicago area, and then wound up staying there and getting a job at IDOT, Illinois DOT District 1 in Schaumburg, Illinois, and was there for about 3.5 years. Finally realized the cold was not for this southern girl by any means, so I made my way back to the south and started working in Austin for Stantec, and I've been here for the last 4.5 years, and I really love it. I'm mainly focusing on signage and pavement marking design, traffic signal design, getting into roadway illumination and ITS design as well. Pretty excited about that stuff. I also really love talking about transportation equity, and especially being from a small town where we didn't have public transit to then going to an area like Chicago where there's people on trains, things I didn't know when I was younger. It was mainly just freight trains that, you know, went by my house every day. So I really enjoy being in the transportation sector, and I'm really looking forward to working with all of you in Leadership ITE and learning more and growing, you know, as a leader and as a professional. One thing people don't know about me is even though I'm like this engineering type, I also really love crafting. My mom actually got me into it when I was like super young. I did studio art, but she also does a lot of scrapbooking and card making. So I actually have a wall of mom in my office, or at my desk, and just a bunch of different cards she's made for me and sent me through the years. And so I really love to make my own cards. Actually just started getting back into watercolor painting again. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to meeting all you guys and talking more. So bye.
Hi everybody, my name is Anthony Mariani, and this is my introduction video for the Leadership ITE class of 2021. So to start off a little bit about myself, I was born, raised, and still currently live in New Jersey. I recently just bought my first home in New Jersey, in Point Pleasant Borough, which is about a 5 or so minute bike ride to the beach. It's a small little suburb out in the Jersey Shore. As someone who's an active bicyclist, runner, in general, being outdoors type of person, being in an area like this really allows me to take full advantage of the hobbies of mine. Like I said earlier, I was been in New Jersey my entire life. I even attended college here at the college in New Jersey, or as TCNJ, as people like to call it. It was around my junior year of college when I got my first internship in the transportation industry with the New Jersey Turnpike Authority. And I knew when I first took the internship that this is something that I had interest in but never really knew about. To give a little back on that, I can remember back in high school when I first got my driver's license that I always would try to map out and plan my routes just based on the different traffic in the area and understanding how other certain roadways were. So even then I was trying to understand and learn how different roadway networks operate and try to give myself the best route I possibly could. After I took this internship my junior year, though, it really took my passion to the next level. I knew after that I wanted to be in the transportation industry for the long term. Following that internship, I had the opportunity to take an internship with Mazer Consulting in New Jersey, which I'm happy to say, since I took the internship going into the summer of my senior year, I have been with the company since about 8 years at this point now, give or take. Though now we will be known as College of Engineering and Design starting next year. When I joined with Mazer, a lot of doors opened up for me and opportunities, and one so was I became way more involved in ITE. I was one of the founding members at TCNJ of their student chapter for the IT with the Met section. And since I graduated and been in the industry, I have taken a more active role in it. I volunteered and I've been a part of different committees with the Met section, the Northeastern District, and at the international level. But to give everyone a fact about me that most people don't know is I'm actually half Middle Eastern on my mom's side, with a last name like mine, Mariani. You would never think with that many vowels that anyone would have any kind of Middle Eastern in them. But yeah, that's something most people really don't know about myself when we first meet. But otherwise, I'd like to thank everyone for the opportunity to participate in this year's class, and I look forward to meeting everybody in the next coming weeks.